Success today, follow up until someone dies, because if you don't, someone else will, and they're going to get the business instead of you. So how we close the deal.
What's up?
Guys, welcome back. Dirty Kitchen sales meeting number 31. Grinding it out. Tell us really quick what your quote of the day was, just for the folks in the office here.
So we got a quote from Les Brown, and the quote says, "Your level of belief in yourself will inevitably manifest itself in whatever you do."
Perfect, because that's going to lead right into our topic for today. And we've talked about this before, but it's so important we're going to talk about it again, and it's about preparing for objections, because that's what we're going to face constantly throughout the day.
Day out.
Day in and day out. And of course, the sales notes are courtesy of Uncle G, because he's the expert in this area, so that's the one I like to really look into, him and Jared. Glant, the Young Hustlers.
Okay.
And that's what we are here. We're just hustling, keeping it young, keeping it tight, keeping it light, cracking necks, cashing checks, bagging them and tagging them. All of those things all at the same time.
That boy's got some punchlines for days.
So we're working on it. So prepping for objections. So there's the two main types of objections that we're going to be dealing with every day. And the two main types are going to be the external objections and the internal objections. So what if I was to say those two words, what would you think the difference would be between an external versus an internal objection?
An external would be that they don't have the money for it.
Okay.
Possibly. The internal would probably because they don't know you, so they're they're not emotionally invested in the deal.
Well, so here's how we're going to split up. So those are all external objections. And
Okay.
the external objection is anything that comes from the outside.
Okay.
The internal objection is your own personal mental objections, maybe. So something like you think it's too expensive, like our quote for Juliana the other day, and you feel bad about even presenting.
I never feel bad about presenting anything.
Well, see, and I was like, that's pretty expensive. But that was an internal objection that I had. We don't know what her thoughts are, so I shouldn't have been thinking that way. That was an internal objection, right? So that's externals from other people, clients, prospects. They're going to give us external objections, which we have to know how to handle and deal with. And then we're also going to have our own internal objections, which are our own personal things that we're thinking that we've got in our head. So there's two types, right? So let's think of a few external objections that we've heard just this week. I know you've had a few.
External objections?
People that basically said not right now, or
the Classic Theater.
okay.
When I tried calling them on Monday, like, call me back on Thursday.
Okay.
I'm too busy right now, and
Too
Thursday
busy.
is
Okay, I'm gonna write these down just so we can think about them. So too busy was the first one that you thought
too
of.
busy.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just looking around and calling for prices.
Okay, just looking around, getting prices.
And I don't think this
I
one
had
is...
one. We went with another company. Thanks for checking in.
Oh, or the old saying that actually we have a printer and they're a family friend.
That was a big one. Okay, printer already. That's a friend. Those are 4 great ones.
Then there's also this one too. Not necessarily, I don't think it would be an objection,
Okay.
but when they want a job done the next day when...
It needs unreasonable time frames.
Exactly.
Unrealistic time frames.
Yeah. Would
Okay.
you consider that?
Yeah. Well, if we can't do it in the time frame, then they'd be object to that and say no. Okay, so now let's name a few internal objections. The first one that comes to mind. So the first one I thought of was I thought that was too expensive, and she was gonna laugh at us because it was ridiculous. That was my internal objection. Worried about the cost, not confident in the price.
What other internal
I
objections?
didn't want to. I hadn't been feeling good about calling that at the health guy because I just figured he wouldn't answer anyways. So
There's always that.
not confident in any reply. What's something else that maybe has been holding you back from? How about getting the payment from Noble? Is there any internal objections that the reason that you haven't got them yet?
No, he's another.
That's more of an external.
External. Oh, busy.
Too busy. I got that one already. Okay. What about? Is there anything internally that you're finding you're like thinking about and it's causing hesitation?
At least like whenever I go to like when I go like trying to go find new prospects and they got like those no soliciting signs.
Okay.
So then it kind of like just like.
Should I go in? Should I not?
Yeah, exactly.
So unsure if you should attempt the contact.
Exactly.
Okay. Is there anything that you're unsure or you're not, you're like, oh, I don't know if this is the right product for them? Should I be trying to sell them this? Anything that you've thought of like that, or?
No, not necessarily that. I think it's more so just like unsure of, and then also unsure of how to prospect.
Okay. The strategy.
Yeah.
Not confident in the strategy yet. The external and the internal. So Grant talks about what happens when we get stuck on our internal or external objections. So he said the natural tendency is to become introverted, get concerned about ourselves and our own feelings, thoughts, and fears. So he says, think about when you're unsure on a phone call or when someone's grinding you on the price, you naturally kind of get fearful of losing the deal. And instead of being on the attack, you get on the defense. You kind of get a little introverted because you're not sure, you're unsure, you're not feeling good, you're getting the objections handling you instead of you handling the objection, right? So what I do is I might put the call on hold, or I might say to the client, oh, let me just jump in the back and get some pricing so I can think about it a little bit, so I can get some stuff. And that can be good, but it also can be bad because I should be able to handle it a little quicker than having to step out of the hot seat, I think. But I can get caught off guard, and then that's when you stumble and bumble around, and you might give it too cheap, or you might say the wrong thing, or that's where it can go wrong. So the best way to tackle the issue is to have a strategy and a game plan when it comes to selling. So I think we need to think about that a little more, because you just said unsure of the strategy, right? So maybe we need to sit down and try and develop something that we can follow. So we got to develop a pitch, which we kind of have our pitch developed. We have our printing, graphic design, marketing, signs. But we also need to work on our internal rebuttal manual, so where we can have a comeback or a rebuttal when someone comes up with these objections. And we're hearing all the same ones all the time, so if we just come up with something that works, we should just start to memorize that stuff. So I need to do this too, you need to do this, we can do it together. But what we're doing in these meetings every day, we're building our sales knowledge, our skill, our stamina, so that when this stuff does come up, we're ready to jump into action. So I thought, why don't we role play out a few of the objections that we just talked about and see how we can handle them just between the two of us. So let's start with the internal. So I was worried about the cost. So I think that the cost is up to the customer or the client, not me. So I don't have to think about the cost. The cost is what it is. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It is what it is. So it's my job as the salesman probably to just present the cost confidently. Because if I'm unsure and I say, oh, it's a little expensive, but it's X, then they're going to think, oh, well, that is a little bit expensive.
Yeah, that's why sometimes, like, whenever you're like, is that, like, just put it out there. See, see what happens. The worst, to me, sometimes it's just like, it's their decision. You know what I mean? They can either be like, oh, it's too expensive, and then that's when I can, what's something that,
Listen first instead of talk, right?
Present them the option.
And then listen.
Yeah.
Instead of make an opinion, my opinion. Mine doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I need to work on that, because I always think cost. Oh, I don't know if I should say that. It's probably a little too much. Just probably prejudging people. Who knows? Gary Vee was talking about it one the other day, and he said his best ever sale in the wine shop was from a guy that came in like camo outfit, and he said that his manager came up to him and said, "Hey, should we keep an eye on this guy?" Like they thought he looked a little shifty, and he left the store making a $40,000 order of wine, and they said that he didn't prejudge him, treated him as a regular buyer, and it turned out to be the biggest one-time in-store sale he'd ever made. So even though the other people were like, "Hey, should we keep an eye on this guy?" So you can't. I think I do that a little bit. I prejudge people even before I see them and think, "Oh, well, can they afford this? Probably not," and then I don't go right at it with them. So that's my internal objection that I've got to work on. Worried about the cost. So how about unsure if you should attempt the contact years, if you see the no solicitation, something like that. How can we look at that in a different way than what we're doing now?
Well, technically, I'm not selling anything. I'm just giving them information.
Okay.
But what does no soliciting mean, though? That's the thing.
Well, and the way I think about it is when people come in here, we have no soliciting, and we just say, "We're not interested," and then they leave. So what's the word? It's not like I'm going to call the cops on anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, "Sit right here while I go get the security team." I'll say, "Hey, not interested," and then you say, "Understand," and walk out. Right? So I think, what's the worst that can happen if you do go in? Probably not much. Right?
I guess I'll
And
just start going in.
Yeah, and I said, well, it says no soliciting, so, but I said that too. I said, well, probably just don't go in there. But now that I think about it, the worst they can say is, "Don't come in here, not interested."
Yeah.
It's not like they're gonna
Yeah,
get
'cause
into a
there's-
fist fight with you.
Because there's been a couple of those, whatever you want to call them, like office buildings.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go in there, and every single place has like a no soliciting sign. So and then I would just kind of just be like, well, like, and I was like, I'm just gonna ask Taylor. I was like, I'm gonna ask Taylor what.
Well,
what
I
he
think I'm gonna
about
change
that.
my opinion from our first chat. Because the other thing, we're not going in there. You're not going in there selling them cookies or donuts.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a legitimate business transaction potentially, and it's no different than sending someone an email, except that it's more legitimate.
Yeah.
So why don't we just throw that out and just try it? If you go to 10 and 10 of them say get out of here and never come back, then we'll know maybe it's not the strategy that's working.
Yeah, but like I said, most of the times what I do is when I go there, I bring them the trifold and my card. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, look, I'm just here. I just want to just dropping off some information. If you're interested, I'll ask them like, who does who's your office manager or your marketing manager, or the ones who are in charge of printing, and they'll be like, or you're printing. Like, oh, it'll be X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, hey, do you have their card? And oh yeah, let me go get it for you.
Yeah.
And like that's how it usually works whenever I'll go into a place that it doesn't have a no soliciting sign. You know what I mean? So then I'll get their information, and then they already have my card and the trifold. And then when I bag drop, and it's like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like not like they're just more alphographic stuff.
Let's do some role playing on the external objections. So I heard this good one this morning. So just looking into getting prices. So say that to me.
I'm just looking into getting prices.
Okay, how many people are you thinking of checking with right now? Or do you know?
No, I'm just you're the first ones that I've called.
I understand, I'm with you. It's good to get prices from other people, but what do I need to do to get to the top of that list when you're considering?
Well, I've got a budget I'm trying to stay under, and I'm just like I said, I'm just calling and looking around to see which one has the best price.
I understand. Is there any reason, if all the prices were the same, why you wouldn't go with us?
No, I mean, like I said, I'm just looking for the best price, and I just like I said, I was just calling around. I heard y'all were good.
Do you know about by when you might have that decision made?
Maybe sometime this week.
Okay, so can I get your email and phone number, and I can follow up with you probably on Thursday?
Sure.
Okay, can I get that from you? So I don't know, that was the one I heard was you said when people say we're shopping around, you say, what do I need to do to get on the top of that list after you've shopped around?
What do I need?
What do I need to do? What can I do to get on the top of that list? this one on you. Well, Marcus, I got this graphic, and here's the deal. I need 2,000 business cards by tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I know it's already 4 o'clock today, but I need these by 3 o'clock tomorrow.
By 3 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not something that we'd be able to do, but I can get them to you in about 2 business days. As long as we can get them proofed.
Why can't you get them by tomorrow? What's the problem with that?
There's other jobs that are ahead of that too as well, and then not only that, we got to get your proof, and we're about to close at 5, and you want it by 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, that's asking for a lot. I can double check. Let me double check for you.
Okay, so let's think about that. That seemed a little negative to me, maybe. Just a little bit negative.
What's that?
Well, just where you're like, I don't know, just to get a negative undertone from it. They need it by tomorrow. I'd say maybe try that. Think about this. This is not necessarily the right way, but what if we said something like, I'm with you, I understand. These are a rush. Now, I'll be honest with you, we'll say all the printers in town need to go through the same process of printing, and that takes about 2 business days at the quickest. What I can do is make sure we get yours to the front of the line, but it's most likely going to be ready by Friday morning. Is that something that you could work with? It seemed like you gave a lot of excuses.
Okay.
Instead of solutions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There was like 4 or 5 excuses, but you didn't solve my problem.
Okay.
Okay, so thinking like that, so we still aren't going to say yes, but we're going to present an alternative where we can get it to them in a positive way, a solution, and say, hey, I understand, I'm with you, it's a rush. What I can do is put it to the front of the line, and I can't have it by 3 o'clock tomorrow, but I could have it by Friday at 11 a.m. Would that work for you? And then if they truly say no to that, then we really can't help them. But
Okay.
Most people that are saying I need it tomorrow,
They don't really
need it tomorrow. So if we can present another alternative that still is fast and still makes sense, then I think that might be a little bit better way.
Okay.
So let me try again. So I'm gonna say, hey Marcus, I know it's late, 4 o'clock, but I really need these cards by 3 o'clock tomorrow. Is there anything you can do for me? I want to say something like, I'm with you, I understand, so we always agree. I understand. I'll be honest with you though, the way the printing process works, we're going to have to educate them a little bit, because they obviously don't know. The way the printing process works, you can check with any other printer in town, but it is gonna take about 2 business days. But what I can do for you, put you to the front of the line and make sure I get it to you not by Thursday at 3, but I could do it probably by Friday by noon.
Okay.
Is that something that would work for you?
Okay.
So we're gonna agree, do a little education. It doesn't work like that, sir, but here's what I can do for you, and present a solution.
Okay.
Okay, so Marcus, hey man, I know it's late, 3 o'clock p.m., but I really need these cards tomorrow afternoon by 3. What can you do?
I understand. I know you need these cards. Unfortunately, that's not how the printing process works. You can call any other printer. It's gonna take about 2 business days.
I've been trying, that's why I'm calling you. Nobody seems to be able to do this for me. It's kind of getting frustrated because I really need these cards.
I completely understand, but what I can do is I can make sure they get to the head of the line, and I can get these to you, if not by tomorrow, but I can get them by Friday before noon.
Well, my meeting really is Friday at 4. Can I pick those up at noon? Like I can pick them up?
Yes, you can pick them up, or I can drop them off.
Okay. See, I think that goes better than, this is why we can't do it.
Yeah.
We educated, because if he calls anywhere else, no one else is going to do it either, and if they do, then they can get the business, because good for them. But if we educate them a little bit, and then give them a solution. Now the other thing we could do is we could actually present the offer, the price. You can say, here's the deal. I could get them to you by noon, and if we do it for $79.99 plus tax right now, I'll make sure it's done. And then that kind of forces him to either say, now it's on him to say yes instead of us. So you could go right at him with a price and an offer too, so he doesn't keep calling around.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, you know what? I understand. I can have them tomorrow by noon, and it's going to be $89.99 plus tax. If you give me the payment right now, we can make it happen. So that's another thing you could keep in the back pocket if you're still not sure. But I like that. So present a solution, and make an offer if it feels right. So now try one more on me. Let's say, let's try the too busy one, but let me think about it for a second. Too busy. Too busy. Too busy to talk right now. Okay, so I learned this one from old GC too, but try it on me and we'll see if I can get it. Okay, Marcus, man. Marcus, here's my, I was looking to get this quote out to you. Is there something, could we talk about this today maybe?
I'm a little busy. You're gonna have to try me back another time.
Hey, I understand. I'll tell you what, I've got an opening on Wednesday at 3, Thursday at 4, or Friday at 2 p.m. Are any of those days gonna work for you?
Let's say Friday at 2.
Friday at 2. Can I put that down on my calendar?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and can I follow up with you tomorrow around noon just to confirm that?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, I'll see you Friday at 2.
All right, thank you, sir.
So they say present 3 different specific times, because then you're gonna know that they're gonna have a hard time letting you down 3 or 4 times in a row.
Okay.
So he takes it and he says, oh, you know, I'm too busy right now. I'll say, hey, Mr. So-and-so, I've got an opening tomorrow at 3:30, Friday at 2, or Monday at 1 o'clock. Which one of those will work for you? Oh, well, I guess Friday. Okay, great, awesome. I'm going to put that on my calendar. Can I follow up with you tomorrow just to confirm that appointment? You like that?
Yeah.
It just gives specifics and options.
Okay.
And then when they agree to something, you got to say, that sounds great. I'm going to follow up with you and confirm that tomorrow.
Okay.
And then it makes it harder for them to back out. And it doesn't really matter what the times are, because with what we do, we can make ourselves available anytime.
Oh yeah, but that makes it simple. So tomorrow at 3, the next day at 2. It's like you just.
Or you can play it up a little bit. Well, yeah. Let me check my calendar. I've got an opening tomorrow at 2, Thursday at 3, Friday at 11 a.m. Which one of those 3 will work for you? I put it on there right now. And it's not asking them when they're available, because they're just going to say, I'm too busy. So you give them a time.
Yeah.
And put it on them to say yes or no. So how's that? Something to think about today? So classic theater. Oh, Marcus, you know, we really want to do this. We're too busy. Hey, ma'am, I'll tell you what. I got an opening tomorrow at 11. I can stop by. Monday as well. I'm going to be here in your area probably around 2 or 3. Or even Tuesday, I can come by in the morning as well. Which one of those days would work for you? And then, okay, that sounds great. I'll follow up with you, and I'll make sure that appointment's still good tomorrow. And then if they try and back out again at that point, then we have to get creative. But at least it's going to move the ball along the field and get something on paper. So you want to try calling them right now?
Sure.
All right, guys. Welcome to the Dirty Kitchen. Setting this up, another live sales call by Mr. Bevy Bev himself, Marcus Beverly, coming in hot. We're going to do a quote for a special theater that he's been working with. He's got the pricing out there. He's had how many touches?
I don't know. Too much.
Too many. But
many.
as we know, 7 to 12 average. If you do more than that, that's just what you got to do to make things happen. So we've already done some role play. We're going to handle any objections. We're prepared for them. Usually it's something new that we're not ready for, but that doesn't matter because that's what we do. Mm-hmm. We're closers, Dirty Kitchen. And so if we don't get the close on the phone, we are going to attempt to set up a appointment for either this week or next week so we can try again in person. So here we go. Let's see what happens.
How you doing? This is Marcus from Alpha Graphics. I'm doing good. Is Kelly in? Oh no, she told me to give her a call today at 9. I know I'm a little late. Well, I was just gonna go over to see if y'all still wanted to order those envelopes. Okay, so you just have to let me know which, because I quoted you for 500 and for 1,000. Yeah. Do you have the? 'Cause I could re-forward it to you right now if you need me to. I could either send you a payment form through your email, or if you want, I can take the payment over the phone. Okay, all right. I will send you an email with the payment form, and then just if you want me, I could just follow back up with you to see if whichever you decided to, I can go ahead and submit whichever, the 500 or the 1,000 you want. Yeah, you can call my direct line. Maybe, but if not, I can give it to you right now. No. It's 210-429-0403. All right. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
That was a half close. Pretty much a close.
Yeah.
So
she wants me to send her the payment form. Kelly, the purchaser, is actually out for the next 2 days. She's gonna get in contact with her, so she says. And she says they want to order. They want to order. She just doesn't know if they're gonna order the 5,000 or the 1,000. I mean, the 500 or the 1,000 envelopes. So I'm gonna send her our credit card payment form, because she says she'd rather want that one, which is good, because then I can be like, hey, do you want me to keep this on file for
future business?
For future business.
Awesome.
Hopefully they'll say yes, and then next thing you know, there's just more coming in.
Well, all I can say is from the third-party perspective here, we've been having success all week with follow-up. It's the golden ticket, really, I think, in here.
Definitely.
Every time we follow up, even if it's getting to be a silly number of times, it seems to always work itself out in the end. So if you're not following up, like our stat said the other day, I believe 48% of salespeople admit to not following up any quotes. And that's why they're not successful. So the more we follow up, the more success we have. So all we can say is look into it, because it seems to work for us in the dirty kitchen.
That, and if you go back to that meeting, I believe Taylor said that the numbers of people who are not buying and this and that were extremely high. So it's very easy to get shot down and be like, oh, it's dead, whatever. But it's just the nature of the game, and it's the nature of the beast. But definitely 48% of people who are doing this aren't following up, and I've been calling, email, face to face. I mean, you name it.
Every
with them,
angle.
And it's still not done yet, but it will be, because I have that
belief.
Gotta have that belief.
Okay. So that's our Alpha Graphics ingredient to success, the dirty kitchen ingredient to success today. Follow up until someone dies, because if you don't, someone else will, and they're going to get the business instead of you. Thanks for watching.